Hi, I'm Aditi Chaurasia, co-founder and CEO of SuperSourcing.
Hi, I'm Vijay, Director of Talent Acquisition at SuperSourcing.
And today we are going to discuss about what is so unique about SuperSourcing hiring process that makes us different.
Cool.
So Vijaya, so you have been into this industry, in hiring domain from last 15 years. So there must be something that you have figured out, what works best when it comes to hiring right talent for the company or for the customer, for the clients as per their requirement. What are those unique philosophy that you have developed?
Got it. So see Aditi, as you mentioned, right, so I have been in the industry for 15 years now, specifically into recruitment, more specifically in tech recruitment side of it. And I have been building or handpicking the core team of startups which have probably skyrocketed to a unicorn status currently, right? So all these companies, but they're having new challenges. The way they think of the candidate, the way they see a best fit has been very different from each and every company. So what we have been trying to figure out as a recruitment team was to figure out what is the best formula of success for it, right? Best part of recruitment is there is no formula. There is no input and output kind of a streamlined formula that will give you success, right? You need to create your own formula. You need to create your own strategies around that, and that's what is unique about recruitment. And that's how we have been doing, right? And with all this trial and error method we have been doing it, we are now in a phase where we are able to understand this can work out, but now this can work out now. Probably due to 2 years down the line, it might not work out. You might again have to strategize differently, right? And that is how the recruitment has evolved around it.
But then since we are into tech space, it changes really fast, right?
Correct.
And over the period of time, recruitment is not just a department or a function within the company. It is more of being like a business partner to it. So how do you adapt to all those changes, technological changes, and then hire the best possible person for the company?
So again, as you mentioned, right? So one of the experience that I have seen in companies is they kind of don't give much importance of recruitment. Like say for example, if suppose you are a startup founder, a technical founder who had an idea, who started a company. Usually what they say is like, okay, fine, we are at say 10 member, 20 members team member. Probably we need a HR person to probably do payroll, probably do some complaints and stuffs. So they will hire a junior HR. And typical mentality would be like, no, okay, HR तो आ गया तो recruitment भी हो जाएगा, so let's give recruitment that also. Like that's how recruitment kind of goes into the HR. And most of the cases for the people that we interact with, the clients, HR interview that we interview will be juniors who might not understand tech hiring, tech recruitment, how to screen a profile, is the right profile or a wrong profile, right? So we as the partners, we need to engage with them, educate them, and then probably strategize around them, with them. And that's how I see recruitment has to get its due respect in an organization, because without that you will not be able to get your core member. Without that being strong, you will not be able to get the person who is going to grow your company in the future, right? So it will be always probably if a recruiter is not so great, then the right profile is not reaching to the founders, right? Probably they are not able to screen the right candidates, probably they are not able to evaluate the right person who might have been a good asset to the company. So recruitment is not just about CV, right? It's also about what is the problem statement that you are having. You always would come, recruitment would always, people say recruitment starts with, मुझे ये चाहिए, I have this JD, I want this person. But it doesn't start with it. मुझे एक problem है.
Okay.
इस problem को solution क्या है? Probably can this person help me out with the problem? And that's how it should start, rather than ये चाहिए मुझे, right? So that's what the deeper is. And I think that is unique about SuperSourcing also, right? We don't just believe in a JD that is coming to us. We believe in the problem statement that define the particular JD, and we go back to the clients, customers, educate them. Probably you are looking in the wrong direction. For this problem statement, you should look in the different direction. You should look in the different solution, and we give them a solution for it. We just worked out well for them, and that's how it should go.
There is a thing, as you mentioned, a lot of founders, a lot of companies इतना importance नहीं देती hiring को, and they really don't get into the deepest of the corner of the candidate, like कि कितना suitable है, कितना नहीं, and they look for CV and just. But we always believe when if you really want to grow, you should be having best team on board, right? How do you think this scenario has changed over the period of 10 years per se? Because these days what I see is, if you are not hiring right, you are losing your chance of winning, you are losing the opportunity growth that you kind of having in coming time. Plus technology is an integral part these days. It is changing so fast that the person should adapt to it really fast. So how do you make sure while hiring that whoever you are hiring is agile and versatile enough to adapt to these changes, and that is the best person on board for the company's growth?
Got it. So see, I will tell you a couple of things, right? So again, my experience, personal experience around that. So around, I think around 2010, 12, there was a boom of startups, specifically in all the metro cities, right? Bangalore, Pune, all these. There was a boom of startups coming out. उसके पहले HR was considered to be more of a conservative approach. Like most of the people from FMCG products, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, these were the HRs, the CHROs of companies which were running at that point of time, right? But then when this technical boom happened, the startups started to suddenly come into picture. The techies started to build the companies, right? For them, they didn't have much of an idea about HR. Most of the people whose point of time didn't even understand the difference between HR and recruitment. Both were combined together. HR is a different ballgame altogether. Recruitment is a different ballgame. Both solves a different problem altogether, right? But for them, it was more of HR recruitment, dono ek hi hai, all these terms.
Right.
And it was also, I have also seen in some places where we jovial also say ABCD HR, like anybody can do HR.
Okay.
Right? So that mentality also there. Like no, HR to anybody can do, yaar. Usme kya matlab hai? Like anybody can suggest anything, anybody can put in a policy.
And suddenly post-COVID we realized that
correct.
it
And
is changed
things changed a lot. Like there are a lot of things. Like for example, at one point of time, people going out to breaks in a proper office environment. People going for breaks, go for tea breaks, they chit chat over a water cooler sort of it, right? So we call it water cooler chatting, right? So these were considered to be non-productive, time wasting kind of efforts, right? But after COVID, these were considered to be like something, it's a self-learning wala thing, right? People go out with different teams. They talk with different other aspects of it. And that was encouraged even hybrid model now. Like people are encouraged to go for breaks. Right. People are encouraged to have their own life, work-life balance kind of thing, right? So ye wala cheese is something that you would learn. And this importance has to be given to the HR. HR would be empowered to do this, right? If HR is not empowered, you will not be able to create a certain culture or create a growth, retaining workspace in your place. Same goes to the recruitment. If you're not going to empower a recruitment, आपका workforce का अच्छा बंदा नहीं आएगा अंदर. You would not be able to.
I can assume like it's more of a side from the organization that need to adopt to those changes, which the candidates are ultimately expecting out of a workplace.
So again, the organization has to adapt. But at the same time, I understand like with the boom coming out, with things coming out, probably the founders would not have that idea initially. That's where I think we kind of step in, right? We get these ideas, we engage with them, advise them, help them out with the consulting side of it. Just not vendors for them, right? We are partners for them, strategically helping them out, and that's where the solution comes up. And once you start engaging with them, once you give the advice to them, once you have the authority to give that advice, they also like you and they also start engaging with you. They would proactively come to you with problem statements. Like, ये मेरा problem है, मुझे अभी solution दे दो, right? So that's how it happens. Whether you are successful in the first engagement or not, but when you have the right data, when you have the right advice given across to the customer, probably the first time you are not be able to engage with them properly, but they would come back to you with the second problem statement with you because they know you might have the solution for it.
So it is like recruitment has also evolved over the time, where people consider it as a partnership game, not just as you are hiring for us and we are just paying you for that. It is about understanding each other's problem, understanding each other's challenges, and then figure out what kind of person or candidate would be the right fit for the customer.
Because again, see, recruitment, like I think the olden days where recruitment happens on newspapers, right? You will see banners, newspaper ads coming in recruitment. आजकल वो नहीं है, right? You change from that to now you are talking about AI into recruitment, right? The same way recruitment में the way people evaluate candidates also changed, right? Initially it was more of a manager would be there and the manager would say like he would try to evaluate a candidate saying like can I work with him? Can the team work with him, right? अभी mentally has kind of changed कि like मेरा team पर ये कमी है, I need to bring in somebody else to basically balance it out. तो वो mentally change हो गया. The mentality of कि like can I work with him change कि like मेरा कमी है, can he fulfill my commitment? If I am not proactive, if I am not outspoken, I want somebody like, no, I can be good in data, but
So
I don't want complementary
skill
skills that you bring in, right? So hiring for the strengths rather than hiring for that complete वाला package के एक, no, मेरा पास ये है, तो इसका चाहिए, right? Whether I'll be able to work on it.
It's very hard on the hiring manager's part, because usually what happens when we have a certain limit of budget, we always seek person who can do multiple tasks at a time, right? We expect that person to do writing, to designing, to marketing. I mean, this is from the non-tech side of it. And from generalized to specialized, there is a shift, right? These days people prefer more of a specialized, but how do you educate this to the customer, like, you should be going for a specialized and certain combination of a skill set, and the certain combination of skill set which is rare and which is a kind of not practical or feasible to the customer. For example, if you talk about backend technologies plus DevOps, now it looks like it's same. But when when customer asks you for that, what your approach should be.
Got it. So see, again, this kind of JD keeps coming into us. So I think I recently saw a JD which talked about backend engineering, front-end, information security, cyber security. Everything came into picture,
one.
except the security receptionist was not there in that JD. नहीं तो सभी आ जाएगा उसमें. The issue here is आजकल good or bad, AI is there. You put something in AI, it creates a JD and gives across to you, right? So the chat GPT is not going to understand clearly मेरा problem statement क्या था. It's just a JD. And as a recruiter also, again, as I told, if you are not hiring a right recruiter for a company, आप HR को बताएं कि लेकिन आप एक JD बना दो, JD बना देंगे, right? And they might also not understand कि मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. So we go back to them. We told them कि like no, ये JD तो it's like completely
universal.
आप एक Avengers team ढूंढ रहे हो इधर, right? So you have to educate them around that. One of the things that people feel कि like they kind of sometimes think in a very short term perspective, like when you talked about budget, right? Rather than going for a strength, I will hire everything in one person, right? And budget में बता दो, like I will try to understand it across. Or in the first example where I told you like no, I work with him, rather than bringing in different complementary skill sets around that, right? This is, I feel, a short-term solution that you look into. You don't look into the long-term side of it. But when you talk about long-term, like say for example, if I am getting like-minded people in my team, आपका team पर there will be no movement of like strategy. Like everybody will think the same. Everybody will suggest the same. Everybody will say yes to the manager, right? Because they all like to work together, right? There will be no conflict. Whereas conflict in a good way is always good for a team to grow. तो आपका different walk of life आया तो different mentality आएगा, different mindsets आएगा, different ideas आएगा, solutions आएगा, which would help you to grow. And that is a long-term side of it. Same in this case of it. Like when you're looking for a strength-based hiring, you understand कि like no, I can be a stronger person in backend. I probably know DevOps. I can do DevOps. I can probably create some pipelines. No, I can do something around say AICD side of it. But I'm strong in backend. Probably you'll hire me for that. I cannot set up for the initial phases of it. But then as you grow, as your infrastructure need comes into picture, your scalability is there. You once your tariff starts to increase, your infra अच्छा नहीं है तो your app will go into crash. So उस time you would be anyway looking for an expert into it.
Right.
By the time it will be very late for you also, because आपका customer पर आपका reviews तो drop हो गया. You are now building infra for it. So it's better to have that strength beforehand, before the need arises.
So Vijay, as you mentioned, even I have committed this mistake many times in my journey over the period of years, where I look for multiple skills in one person. Then I realized it is a terrible idea. It helped me in saving some money in a small time, but in longer run I realized a person cannot deliver all the skills with equally best outcome. For example, as you mentioned, HR and recruitment are two different things, and different expertise is required. In fact, I had done the same thing. I hired an HR and was expecting him to recruit and to manage the office, because मुझे लगता था an HR can do admin and hiring and all of that. So this actually, it doesn't work out. And this is a general thought process that every founder or every manager or hiring manager has, कि if one person can deliver, these are slightly connected. Front end and UX look similar,
correct,
right? UI and UX look similar for that matter, but they're way different. So this is a problem statement. How do you solve it in tech hiring?
Got it. So see, again, I have also learned this via mistakes only. I have also done bad hires. For example, I have hired a person who left the job in 2 days because basically we are looking for different thing.
In my case, even after months, I realized shit, it's not gonna work.
But वो होता है, like again trial and error method, as I told you, there is no input and output वाला system, formula नहीं है, success formula नहीं है recruitment पर. But you understand because it's people matters, like people matters kind of changes every time, and you understand people. Every people is different, right? You have just like recruitment is not just a resume, not just JD, right? It's a problem statement behind the JD, and it's a person behind the resume, behind the paper, right? तो वो वाला scene है. But what we do is again we try to understand the problem first and educate it across. Like for example, I can give an example. Like no, I had been working with a hiring manager. So hiring manager came and told me like no, मुझे 4 tech lead चाहिए in the team, which I'm going to build it across. I'm going to start my team. So मुझे 4 tech lead चाहिए, right? So the question was like 4 tech lead मिल जाएगा, issue नहीं है. But 2 years down the line, you have to promote these people. You have to grow these people.
Right.
How would you be able to do it? Who would you be able to do it? Like there is risk of losing person, and there is a risk of putting somebody in. Rather than that, have 1 or 2 tech leads and below hire 4 juniors. उसको growth path दो. You will also have save your budget. At the same time, you would be able to create a team and grow, create growth path. Tech lead के भी growth path है to lead people. बंदा को भी junior बंदा के भी growth path है to become a software engineer and move on the level, right? So that way we kind of strategize things across. The same happens with the client also. When a client comes with the JD, we understand the problem statement rather than the JD, right? And we try to tell them like, no, this can be a solution. There have been places where a client comes in without understanding contract hiring क्या होता है, FTE क्या होता है, C2H क्या होता है, right? Because again, as I told, they are techies. They might not know this. They have an idea. They founded the company. They are running it across. Like, it's not necessarily like they should know about HR, recruitment, the moralities by which you can hire and stuff, right? So we need to educate them. उसका problem statement क्या है? उस problem के लिए this can be the solution for you. We have suggested FTE for people who have the problem where FTE can solve it.
So I can say like there has to be a tailor-made plan for each and every requirement coming from the client side, right? Because every problem statement is different. Every situation-based hiring is also different. For example, their client might be looking for a replacement for an ongoing project. Sometimes they might be looking for onboarding fast because the existing project is getting late. So how do you ensure those scenarios that you are providing exactly what the customer is looking for?
So, so there can be say 4 to 5 problem statements that the client would be having it, right? उसमें top 2-3 is what you need to understand.
Okay.
And solve it for it. The rest 2, basically, if suppose a client is able to figure out the top 2, then this is the best client for you. Usually, client doesn't understand the top 2 kya hai mera. We need to suggest them. We need to educate them across. But if you are able to solve this particular top 2, right? It can be money, it can be quality, it can be time. Anything can be that, right? But they need to understand that across, which they are trying to discount, which they are ready to discount, and which they are not ready to discount. Now solve for it, and you can suggest them across. There have been places where they don't have time to interview candidates.
Right.
Right. There is no bandwidth for me to interview candidates.
That is where we come in picture. Right.
And there have been clients which comes and says me, मेरे पास इतना सारा resume आया तो I couldn't screen them across. I don't want to go into it. Time to it's eating my.
Screening is painful.
Painful, right? So all this is a problem statement. Why they actually come to looking out for a partner who can help them out, and along with that, for what they are having this problem. If suppose they are looking at a team or a new product where they are trying to create this market fitment around that, right? They are trying to figure it out across. उसके पास time कम होगा because they need to quickly do it.
Yeah.
Probably quickly fail also, and quickly come back, right? They can't wait to fail because there are somebody else who can pick the idea and create that MVP for them, right? So you need to understand them, tell them कि for this contract can work out well. I will quickly give you candidates to you. You quickly put them on your, guide them and create this product and see if suppose it succeeds or fails. Then probably have work with us for FTE also. Or else I will replace you with the FTE candidates who can help you out to grow that or scale that particular product. So these ideas or this suggestions comes through experience and comes through data that we have, comes through the success stories that we have done. And that's how it gets educated. And that's how they also try to understand like, okay, आपके पास तो solutions है, probably इसके लिए आप suggest कर लिया. Tomorrow I will come with another new solution, new problem. So
I would say this is something very not special but unique about the super sourcing way of hiring tech talent for the customers.
Correct.
So this is one thing. What are the other things that make us so different and help in hiring best people for our clients.
So one of the
In
good
tech
thing
hiring
is
especially.
hiring doesn't stop with selection.
Agreed.
It stops only after joining.
Yes. Even not after that.
It kind of until unless a person comes and sits on the chair, आपका hiring statement close नहीं हुआ.
Right.
Right? And then you have the baby attrition and attrition wala problem, which you have to engage with them. Recruitment also plays a role around that. The major problem comes till the person comes and sits on the chair. Right? Now, इसमें basically if you go and talk to HR leaders or TA leaders or founders, उसका major problem would be that the person is not joining. I am spending all the efforts in terms of interviewing. I am spending my money, my time in terms of evaluating candidates, doing all the post-offer engagement wala process. Everything is all good, but people are not joining, right? So somewhere or other, what best happens with us or how we have get a value is our joining ratio, making sure people join in, right? And we are not making sure people join in. We are actually making sure the person who will join comes to the interview process.
So now this is challenging, right? You mentioned this is the problem that companies are facing. How do you solving it?
So understand things across, right? So again, as I told, resume is just paper. There is a person behind it. So the person is who have to go and join. Not the resume that is going to mail doesn't matter, right?
Agreed.
So you have to understand the candidate. How is this the right candidate? First, your problem statement with the company. So technical skills एक होता है, which everybody can come in. That will be good person with good technical skills वगैरह. But he might not be the right fit for you. Right? आपका cultural fit भी होना चाहिए. There are things, reading between the lines of the JD to understand what exactly is there. Evaluate that. Second, the kind of cultural value or the kind of growth path this candidate is looking into, is it also available there? Right? वो match हो रहा है कि नहीं? And would he be able to join in? Like all these line points है ना आपका in terms of for a candidate or for a guy to grow in a company, there are 4 points that he will look into. When you look into attrition side of it, right? So how he is engaged with his peers, how is he engaged with his manager, how is he engaged with the work, and how is he engaged with the company.
Okay.
So there are 4 points. Now, is engagement value per if there is a low point somewhere or other, the company will try to address that because that would affect the attrition and that will affect the retention of the candidate. The same happens with candidate joining also. If I am not aligned with the company value or I am not aligned with company ka domain whatever they are doing. Say for example, if suppose I am an atheist and there is a company that is working on say horoscopy or something around that, right? Even if I am working there, I will not be aligned to the company growth because my ideology different hai, uska ideology different hai. So you might not be able to join in, right? So that pointers is something that you need to look into it. This you will get once you engage with the candidate.
So can we say, I mean, to make this match properly or perfectly work, you need to go beyond JD, beyond lines.
Correct.
To understand what the organization is looking for, that we do. And to make this thing work with the right hire joins in the organization, you need to go beyond the person appearing in the interview.
Correct.
What are the aspirations of
आपका
that
pipeline build
candidate?
करना is very easy. In recruitment, to build a pipeline is very, very easy. You can build a pipeline. But then it's a quality pipeline and would that pipeline give you result?
You need to know the person, right? To make it work.
Correct.
Till the
आपको
joining.
वो 10 candidates per a recruiter would say like no मेरा bankable candidate वही है. Now bankable candidate is basically a candidate who can clear this interview process. But your bankable candidate should be the person who would also join that company.
Right.
You should understand that. So joining wala ratio is the pain point in recruitment.
Right.
Be it in COVID, before COVID, like.
It's getting worse even.
So because abhi there are like initially it was basically number of offers that the person is getting in, right? But now it's basically number of exposure that is getting in. It's not just FTE offer. You have multiple things coming out in your way. People are encouraged to start their own. So multiple options hoga aapka paas. So the decision of a candidate is not always his individual decision. Like for example, relocation. It's never an individual decision, right? It always comes with the family. A family decision hota hai uska. So you need to understand that. If suppose the relocation is happening, would he relocate? Would he join to relocate? You need to understand that across from his candidate perspective.
I guess this is the second toughest problem statement where it is difficult to make someone join in the office if someone is very accustomed to the remote set of the work and accepting the customer to offer remote if they are in an office setup.
Correct.
And there are certain skills that are very hard and very niche to find out. And how do you match those office, hybrid, remote thing when the skill set are very niche?
So some people see it as a challenge, but I feel this is an opportunity for companies basically.
You enjoy that.
I enjoy it because see, पहले तो I need to hire, right? Hire office करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, मुझे hire करना है. अभी you can hire different other ways. There are multiple opportunities. Like for example, if suppose a company के पास budget नहीं है, right? But they want to grow into say AI. They want to build something into AI, right? But budget नहीं है उसके पास. Now, would I go and take my risk of hiring a strong AI engineer who would definitely cost me bomb and put my efforts, or if I have opportunity, I can always connect with say SuperSourcing and lend me out some 2 or 3 AI engineers, let me build my AI and आपका budget friendly भी है. Would I take that risk or this risk, right? So your liability kind of reduces there. And वो options अभी available है. You have flexible mode of hiring available है. Remote में hire कर सकते हो और hybrid में hire कर सकते हो. You can hire not just in India. You can hire anywhere else in the world, right? Utilize that strength to yourself.
And it is a saying also, not all the best talent can be found in one place, right?
Correct. So वो opportunities हो गया. The company now has the flexible of hiring. Like एक ही hiring नहीं है ना. So the flexible mode of hiring, flexible way of hiring. Freelancers हो गया. Gig model is like picking up in India, very big. So all these models helps companies to attract the expertise that they want. Build on that expertise and then slowly create the space around that expertise. So yeah, flexibility is there, right? Which was not available earlier. Probably 2008, 2009 पे flexibility नहीं था.
Nobody imagined.
Nobody imagined across, right? Nobody thought about it.
About just simple hours of flexibility, that was the only flexibility it was there.
2008, 2009, I think if you see, there was a circle of people working in services company. Like TCS guy would go to CTS, CTS guy would go to Infosys, Infosys guy would come to Infosys. It will keep revolving around that. So that circle broken down now, right? So it's kind of opening up everything across. Company का वही है. Company has an opportunity to utilize multiple things, and that's why I think we are also being a strong pioneer in this domain, in this space. We are able to help a lot of companies around that. Helping them, suggesting them in terms of, or giving them expertise that they need, whereas they don't have to take the liability or take the risk on whether chalega कि नहीं chalega, right? When there is something new in AI market and they want that, but they are not sure whether I should build my expert team around that.
Yeah, I mean, rather than taking a risk of hiring someone full time, you can try and test and then figure out, even this is the skill set you are looking for, or you want to add something, or you want to look for something else, and then go for a hiring.
Correct. Startups will ले लो, like take a startup who doesn't have a brand now, they would have to probably spend more in ESOPs, probably more spend in terms of money to attract a talent.
Right.
And but startups को talent
so many
important
other
है.
things, just not budget. Right.
They would not even have bandwidth to basically do interviews and manage interviews and stuff. उसका candidate experience बनना पड़ेगा. Without candidate experience, candidate will not be able to join you.
These days, candidates are very picky.
Correct.
They
would evaluate, na. Like I will always say, like आपका your hiring process that you create in a company should be a brand ambassador. Because if your hiring process पर आप candidate को badly treat कर लिया, he is not going to join you, irrespective of how much money you are going to throw in. So candidate experience through your interview process becomes a brand ambassador. And वो बंदा का if he feels company तो serious था hiring पर, he was very well set. Like JD था interview के process के पहले they gave me like these are the 4 people that you are going to meet. These are the 4 parameters that will be evaluated on. And then every interview के पहले reminder call going in saying like this is the person you are going to meet. उसका LinkedIn profile along in the interview process. ये सब है ना, this would show the candidate that you are serious about hiring. Right. This will give you a good experience to the candidate. And if that happens, then the candidate would go out to his friend and tell like आप भी interview करो.
So can I assume like earlier it was the thing that always candidates try to impress the hiring manager. The situation kind of reversed these days?
I think reverse नहीं balance हुआ. Company also has to evaluate. But through interview process, candidate also evaluates you.
Right. I mean the evaluation goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Right. Because candidate also needs to understand either मेरा career growth होगा क्या नहीं होगा, right? And the people that I am talking are the people who are going to work with. So can I look up to them or not, right? Who I will be working with?
Both need to fulfill each other's expectations.
So वो mentality of offer आ गया, number आ गया, तो I will go and join. Change to along with this, what are the other things? Not just money, right? Not just money and benefits that offer के साथ benefits से आता था. So not just that. who am I going to work
Beyond
with, the company का growth क्या है, company का space क्या है, उस space का कितना growth मिल रही है, उसका competitors कौन कौन है, वो competitors के पास VC funding कितना है, इसका VC funding हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, which stage they are into, all these things makes a decision. And उसमें major emphasis is how you have been treated across.
And I think this change is gonna stay for long, right?
It will stay
It
for
was
long, I
long
think.
due, I
Yeah,
guess,
I think it will stay for a long. And so abhi, the thing is like it has become more important because as I told, right, so now as a candidate probably I can work with you or I can work with 10 other companies also, right, with freelancing, gigs, everything coming up, I can do that also. So now usme uska basically he would have different domain expertise coming into picture. So as a candidate, say for example, I say the same thing to candidates who or people, the employees that we have, right? So I compare this across, right? So in a product setup, you would have a set technology. Say for example, a company has started its backend in Golang. So it's very difficult, or it will be very, very rare for them to move from Golang to other technology. The product, the other products, the streamlines, everything will build on Golang only because the system is built on Golang. So the person who is working on that company would be an expert in Golang. Ab service dekh lo, there will be different projects coming in, right? Different projects could have different skill sets coming in. Ek ka backend hoga, ek ka frontend hoga. The guy would play different roles, different skill sets. So he would have a breadth of knowledge. Probably uska depth nahi hoga. Product पे depth होगा, इसमें depth नहीं होगा. They will have breadth of knowledge into this. इसमें domain का different like different projects का different domain भी होगा ऐसा. इसमें domain एक ही है because product is built on only domain. So domain पर ही है. Now when our employees that we have, SuperSourcing people that we have ना, they are experts in technology, whereas expert in domain also. Different breadth का domain भी है. We have different projects from fintech, healthcare, bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, trading, astrology. So all this domain per our employees works, and this is happy for them also. As a candidate, I will tell them the same.
I mean, we give them plethora of opportunities to select their domain, select the product,
as well as become an expertise on it. Like either आप in a services company you lose your expertise on a technology. Here आप Node.js पे काम करो, but at the same time Node.js पे build different domains, figure out domains on that, learn. Every domain has its own problem statements. Right? आपका if you're working in Python and you're working in a cryptocurrency or you're working in a trading, दोनों का problem different है. The way you work on
obviously, I mean, domain expertise definitely matters.
Correct. And that's best thing for employees with us also.
In fact, the companies also, they always, suppose for example, fintech, they always look for someone with the fintech background.
Correct.
Healthcare, health
it's
tech.
easy for them.
Yeah.
Now, so this helps the startup. Like a startup guy who wants to create an app in fintech, why would he put, like, time to luxury for him? He doesn't have time. He has to create his product very quickly. If he hires somebody, he has to put 2 months in terms of telling them domain kya hai, industry kya hai.
So now when this hiring or in the industry in which SuperSourcing is, we are bringing this much of the freedom for the candidates to choose their domain, their industry, their expertise and the projects they work on.
And freedom for the clients also to choose somebody who they can quickly onboard.
Yeah.
Fintech wala banda chahiye mujhe domain expertise, we will give you a fintech guy. You don't have to handle them. You don't have to spend 2 months to bring them productive.
So when this is having this much of the advantage for both the sides, what do you think the attitude or the acceptance towards contractual hiring has changed over the years?
Has changed a lot in both the side of it. I see a vast difference. Like for example, I think एक ज़माना था कि like offer मतलब FTE होना चाहिए. Contract, like people were afraid or ashamed to say I'm a contract employee at one point of time, right? 2008 पर people are afraid, like ashamed to say I'm a front-end engineer. In 2008, they say no, software engineer हूँ मैं, front-end engineer नहीं हूँ. But now front-end engineer is proudly saying I'm a front-end expert, I'm a JavaScript ninja.
Yes.
Right? The same is happening now. This contract employee, they are considering like contract मतलब certainty नहीं है, job security नहीं है and all this stuff. Job security कहाँ पे नहीं है. Like you have seen in recent past big names laying off people.
It is not there anywhere.
Yes. Right. There are people who were in US laid off and 3 months में उसका job लेना है नहीं तो they have to come back to India. Right? So you have seen this across in the market. So certainty, like if you are good, certainty तो है. If you are not good, then certainty नहीं होगा. That is plain and simple.
So that depends on both the sides, right? I mean, if the company is offering good, making candidate learning good, they can continuously learning and can deliver better.
Correct.
And if the candidate is performing better, company definitely
would want to do
that person stay longer.
Correct.
So it is on both parts, right? It is not on one side of it.
So the certainty or the mentality of people towards contract has changed from a candidate perspective also, I am saying, because they see the advantage here, right? As I told, jack of all trades nahi chahiye, I need an expertise, but at the same time jack of all domains. Now, would that help you out to increase your breadth of knowledge?
And that is easy also these days. With so much of the knowledge everywhere, it is very easy to stay aware of what is happening around and stay expert in the skill set that we are into.
Correct. And even for companies ka flexibility aa gaya, as I told, flexi hiring mode is there always for them. So why would I wait 2 months for bringing somebody productive when I can get a ready-made candidate who can bill me from day one?
How I realized this recently, so one of the friend, I would say friend of friend, he got a contractual job. He was looking for a change for almost 3 years, and since the other conditions were very difficult for him to leave the permanent job. For example, 3 months ka notice period, and then package itself is a challenge. Then the communication, his communication was a little average in English especially, but the technical skill set were amazing. So he was looking for a change for almost 3 years, but he was not getting any luck out there. But recently when he secured a contractual job, he was very happy because the pay was almost thrice the current one, and the company was looking for core technical skills as well as the 3 months ka notice period wala clause was not there.
Correct.
So it gave him a lot of freedom and he instantly picked it up without even thinking, whether I should go for FT or the contractual.
Correct.
So I guess in the future, people look for more job option which give them freedom.
Correct.
Which give them freedom of choosing a job, choosing a project, choosing a domain, as well as, whatever they want to work, wherever they want to work.
So that freedom would come in. So again, contract में वो punch in punch out वाला चीज़ ही नहीं है ना, like basically deliverables matters, right? You deliver it across and then if you are good, probably you will deliver in 2 days.
And I guess in future it's gonna get better, the thought process around contractual hiring.
I'm seeing the change right away in the market. Like slowly it will change. Just like I told, right? Front end engineer नहीं हूँ मैं software engineer हूँ. अभी people are proudly putting in I'm a JavaScript engineer, right? So that change would happen. The same would happen in companies also.
So how do you think like this change? Or since more of the Gen Z is coming in the workforce, and since right now they are not in the experience range of 7 or 8 years, when they will be there in this experience range, what do you think their job preferences would be, and how these sort of people, because their thought process is very different. They are way more demanding and way more choosy and picky about what kind of work they want, and they are very adamant about what they want. They exactly will do only what they want.
Correct.
So how do you think you will find a match from the client's requirement as well as the Gen Z's workspace requirement?
So I think on Gen Z side of it, right? So as you told, the way they are focused, the adamancy that they have to basically do that and take all the steps necessary to basically drive that thing across. वो process driven है. They are focused on that. They are focus driven around that side of it, and they love flexibility, and they always are looking for continuous learning. कितना exposure मिल सकता है? They are very happy to get that exposure, and they are very happy to grow along with that exposure and be ahead of the peers. All this aspect you see is very much available in a contract staffing side of it, the contract role side of it, your gig side of it, freelance side of it. इसमें थोड़ा सा 1 or 2 would be not available probably in the FTE side of it, right? Probably maybe your continuous learning can hit at one point of time, your saturation point per it can hit across, or say for example the flexibility that people love can get rigid around a FTE side of it, but contract पे ये सब मिलता है. So I always feel the Gen Z or the what we discussed, right, the current market movements or current market perception towards contract staffing, contract hire, contract employment is changing, and it would drastically change with Gen Z coming into picture, because whatever they want is available there, and they probably will go towards it. They are not worried about certainty. They are not worried about risk. They are not worried about taking that.
They are more of my life, my kind.
Correct.
Rules
So
people.
I love to live my life. When you walk down the park, you can stop down, smell the flowers, right? So वो वाला feeling है उसका. Like a person who is not very very focused, they might not have time to stop and smell the flowers around, right? They just walk through the park and वहाँ जाना है मुझे, बस उतना है, right? But these people have the flexibility to do that, and that flexibility comes along with the work also. They'll be happy to do it.
So it looks like, when they are ready to be in the workforce, companies need to be ready with that sort of
Correct.
work culture where they can provide that level of flexibility and learning opportunities and growth opportunities to the Gen Z, because they are coming anyways.
You can't stop them
Like it
coming.
or not,
Yes,
they are coming in the
yes.
workforce, and we really need to adopt to them.
Correct.
Otherwise, you'll miss on the great talents. They are talented too. They have so much of the exposure in the early days of their life, even right from the school days.
Correct.
So they are damn talented.
So one of the, like currently also, if you see, lot of negative comments, negative remarks goes around notice period of 3 months, 4 months notice period.
They're not accepting it.
They're not accepting it across.
Right?
Like, so that is basically because they love flexibility. आप उधर rigid हो गया तो then they don't want to go into it. So वो वाला issue है. So that's where somewhere or other, as a Gen Z keeps coming in, the perception will change, the policies would change, the way company is going to look into an employee would change, the kind of benefits the company is currently giving. Probably at one point of time उसका life insurance का मतलब ही नहीं होगा.
Right. And we can assume that also they are more geeky than the last generation.
Correct.
Right.
They're very tech heavy. Right now itself they're very tech heavy. Right. Like we were not tech heavy.
They are growing up seeing
AI. Yes, they're growing up seeing AI. They're growing up doing no code platforms. Like now child have toys where they can program the toy to do.
Right.
With probably a iPad, they can just code it to do something. The toy does across, right? So ये वाला logic based learning is happening right now itself. So this tech exposure is very high for them. So for them, as that exposure is happening for them, they have multiple options. They look at flexibility and they want to go towards that.
And contractual hiring actually offers them
everything. All the points that we discussed about
full
the Gen Z, yes, full spectrum of that. So that's how I see like the market drastically moving towards.
So since we know, I mean, you are in this industry from almost 15 years, we are into this hiring space from almost a decade now. We have done a lot of research, we have brainstormed a lot, we have read a lot, done tons of mistake in hiring, but ultimately we have figured out what kind of process is exactly working for us and for our clients. Can you throw some light around the hiring and vetting process of SuperSourcing, especially in tech hiring landscape?
Got it. So one of the thing that we do different from others that I feel is like we don't go by words, right? Whatever you get, be it a resume or be it a JD, we don't go by that. That is just your hall ticket or an entry ticket for you at SuperSourcing, that's it, right? But we have to go beyond it. So first, as I told, JD is not there. JD ke piche there is a problem statement.
Right.
Be advisor to them, be the advisor to the client. Tell them what exactly is the problem statement. Advise them whether they have taken the right decision for the solution for the problem, rather than going with the solution that they are suggesting, right? And then go in terms of solving it across. Same with the candidate. Try to understand what the candidate is looking for. What is that, the burning fire that had asked him to look out for something in the market, right? So that you need to understand. Try to see how he aligns with the company vision as well as the long-term perspective of his growth career around that. So try to align it across. Now, when in all this, we try to evaluate through different process of vetting, right? So we have a vetting process through which we evaluate candidates technically, culturally, as well as long-term perspective of it. How long he would be able to stick on with the company, with the vision side of it. So through this, in terms of, say, for example, if suppose you're looking at, so every hiring site where they will always try to measure throughput ratio and pass-through ratio. So throughput ratio is nothing but the number of people coming into your interview process, the number of person getting selected. And the pass-through rate is basically the different levels that you have in interview process, how they are going through in each and every level. So this is measured across. We do the same here internally. We measure it across so that this is impacting on the quality of the candidate that you are going to bring in. And then it's been presented across to the candidate, the client. So client, as this pass-through rate and throughput ratio is already controlled by us, for them it's always 100% because we have controlled things across entirely. And for them, that out of 4, 1 is selected and 1 is
because nobody likes a number of interviews.
Correct.
Even client don't want to take n number of interviews. Even candidate hates appearing in multiple interviews, right? So there must be a efficient way of minimum interviews and maximum right candidates being selected.
Because when you say cost of hire is not just the number of salary that you are paying to a candidate, right? It's also the time that you have put, the kind of tools that you have taken for hiring.
Right.
You might have to take subscription for portals or tools for marketing your jobs.
Right.
You might have to pay salaries for recruiters. You might have to calculate the time that you are spending of engineers into it. Engineers are paid bomb.
Right.
And every hour of them is valued, right? And you are utilizing that 1 hour for an interview. That means ki like for 10 candidates, 10 hours. So all this, if you calculate it, this all comes into cost of hire. And if you compare that, rather than the salary, the cost that you incur in terms of hiring the person will be very high.
So if I ask you number, how much time are we saving for customer in one hiring?
I think the very simple thing, general ratio if you go about, right? So for any company, any startup, anything you say, they have to probably interview 10 candidates for one select.
Right.
Our ratio is 4 out of 1.
Okay.
So 6 candidates cost we are selling. 60% of the job is done by us.
When we are going to do 1-to-1.
We can do it for sure. With AI coming to picture, technical coming, we are actually growing. We would never be a technical company with adapting to technology, right?
Obviously.
Currently we have manual plus technical technology coming into work. The product that we have built is helping us in terms of doing it along with manual thing.
Because being on the hiring side of the table, no, I'm being very lazy in taking interviews. I really don't want to waste my time in even 4. I want to go for 1 or at max 2 and just want to find out the right one for myself. So I guess this is the scenario with others too.
Correct.
And I'm sure, I mean, with the onset of technology and utilizing technology, we will be there soon.
And believe me, like if hiring manager says, ek banda mil gaya, I'm happy with him, he will be very happy.
So
like,
earlier
nobody
it
wants
used
to do
be 6 or 8 out of, 1 out of 6 or 8.
Correct.
Now you are mentioning it's 4 out
4
of
out
1.
of 1.
So how did you optimize the entire process at the back end to arrive at that number?
So couple of things, right? So one, basically we try to, like again, recruitment is always a manual game, right? So you have recruiters sitting in, you have a vetting process that you set up around the people involved in terms of recruitment, right? So this manual process where there have been always cases where you have to take decisions around gut. There are places where people bias themselves around taking decisions, right? So we try to streamline things across. Now with our experience, we know this would work, right? So there is a kind of process or strategy that we have evolved saying like, no, with this, we'll be able to achieve this, right? Now we try to impart it across on the team. Train them across to make sure that their vetting process, the way they understand this hiring problem that they are trying to solve with the candidate matches or not, right? And that's how we started to streamline the whole process into place. Along with that, we have now built-in technology. Wherever you are able to automate things across, we have been able to automate it across. Wherever we are able to take decision through data, we have been able to take decision through data, right?
Okay.
Rather than going just via individual bias side of it, right? So that way we were able to negate a bit of a bias. Even still manual process is there. Maybe at one point of time, once we are able to guide system taking decisions along co-working with people, your one-on-one can happen, right? 1:1 can happen. Till that time, you will have to have this manual thing because again, manual always becomes subjective, right? You take decisions based on some subjective biases that you might have internally built to your lifespan or to your experience. Somewhere or other that would come into picture. But once you have a clear data in place saying like this is the right strength of the candidate and for this you need to hire him, you would know like I will go with that particular decision and that would happen for sure.
So to arrive at those 4 solid profiles for the clients, how many profiles you actually process at the back to get the best 4 out of it?
So we, so basically, again as I told, right? So it's not just like a client can come and tell me I need a Node.js guy, right? We can always have Node.js guys in place, but it's not just the Node.js a problem statement, right? You need to also have different other things like Node.js ke saath, probably technical skills. Along with that, he is looking for different persona also probably.
Right.
Like there can be places where cultural fit hai, product fit bhi hai. Like for example, there can be places where it's a startup company is doing a 0-1 or 0-10 wala scenario, and he would like to have a person who has experienced that because 0-10 per a lot of problem statements doesn't get defined. So people would have to define boundaries, solve the particular problem in the boundary, and then the boundary will increase slowly and slowly. So problem statement define karke they will have to solve it across. So wo scenario, wo growth stage per a person who has worked on it would be a best fit for a person who is solving 0-1. But it's a different problem statement for a 10-100.
Right.
Where scalability comes into picture, where reliability comes into picture, or your site ka infrastructure comes into picture. So that will be a different scenario altogether. So, product fitment, this would not come to you in JD. right? Your JD में you will not be able to exactly tell कि मुझे ऐसा वाला persona चाहिए. You can tell कि I'm looking for a Node.js expert who has worked on so and so product. Probably I can give you some target audience, target companies to look forward for and stuff, which can happen. But ये वाला personas you will never able to get it out. So, but you will, once you get it out, you will be able to get that particular candidate.
Okay.
So for that numbers, right? So when I have to give you 4, I would probably have 50 to 60 candidates in my place. But now these engineers we know, each and every engineers we know what they have worked on, which projects they have worked on, which domain they have worked on. Back-end, front-end, full stack maybe 60% back-end, 40% front-end, उसका expertise कहाँ है? So basis this persona, we match them across for this particular problem statement. Now if I would not submit a 10 to 100 wala guy to a 0 to 10 wala problem statement, right?
And that is where I guess the system that we have developed at the back comes in place in processing them faster. It's
basically consider this as a, if you consider the ad tech side of it, right? So you are browsing something in say an e-commerce site, and then you come back to some website. Whatever you browsed as an ad comes into where. Basically, वो ad है वहाँ, you are here. There is an engine that is matching this and this and bringing you two together, right? Same here, right? So it's not just कि like no, आपका ये problem statement है बहुत सारा. Then you also have a person of a candidate. Match this together, see if it matches, and then put them across. That's why you will be able to get that 4:1, slowly improve it to 1:1, right?
So how do you think like the AI that we are developing now, this will help in fastening the process even further?
Yeah. So again, so AI would definitely help you out in terms of streamlining things across, specifically in places where, like when you don't have a data at this point of time, you go with gut feeling side of it. AI will help you out to get the data, right? That is one thing. Second thing, say for example, if suppose I am in a technology perspective side of it, right? I am screening a candidate. I am trying to evaluate the candidate. Now, in a normal interview scenario, there can be places where I might, as an interviewer, I get distracted. Probably phone call आ गया, or I'm doing an interview, VC call per, suddenly there is a ping from a manager. I have to reply back to the manager, but the candidate is talking. Whose pointers को I might miss out, right? Whatever he is talking about, probably because I'm distracted. Human tendency, getting distracted. For a whole 1 hour, I would not be like glued to a candidate,
there is
right?
some problem that is going on in back of the mind.
But then 1 hour के बाद you're taking decision. As an interviewer, you're taking decision. And whose decision is based on whatever you have grasped as of now. You might have missed multiple things, but AI never misses. AI would also be able to give you a report with saying like no बंदा का strength कैसा है, बंदा का weakness कैसा है, and it will also match the strength and weakness to what your problem statement is.
Right.
And it would give you a scenario कि like no बंदा would टिकेगा नहीं टिकेगा. AI can also give out a history.
But ultimately decision goes to you.
Decision goes to you. Decision, like again, AI would not be driving decisions for you, right? But it will help you or guide you to take the right decision.
Right. So it will help you in fastening the process, in backing it with data, give you insights, and then decision goes to you. Whether
it will also help you out to understand. Like for example, if suppose you are hiring for a role which you have hired so far in the industry, it will also help you out to understand कितना interviews करना है आपको interview close करने के लिए based of history of data that you have. Would you be able to
the right set of questions for that particular role,
right set of candidates. Like currently hiring managers saying like मेरे पास 100 applications है, I'm not able to screen it across. This will screen and give you the top 4 applications, उसको top 4 के बात कर लो. Right? All these things can be done through AI, which would enable you to, like, it will not take decisions to you, but it will guide you to take the right decision. Right? It will also give you insights about the candidate also, basis his pattern, basis the movement that he is happening, basis the number of tenure that he is doing it.
There are n number of data
N number of data that you can get. Like you can also get history of revision of a candidate. Like say for example, if a candidate has a history of moving job with 30% or उसके ऊपर hikes from one board to, you can understand the pattern कि like no कितना पैसा देना पड़ेगा वो बंदे को to hire me, right? So or is it the right person?
It's gonna get better, right?
Is it the right person? Should I go ahead? Is it money minded or not? Right? So yes, some insights you will be able to get, which will help you or guide you to take the right decisions into. And I think that's what we are doing. So SuperSourcing, right? We have been building up systems, trying to see how much we can automate it across, try to see how much data driven we can be. And I think, as you told, right, from 8 to 1, when we have come to 4 to 1, I think that is because of the kind of technology that we have imparted into the system, how we have automated it across. And we are again evolving, right? So as we evolve, I think the numbers would get even better.
Definitely, the target is to 1:1.
Yes. we can do
Okay,
that.
so seeing a lot of technological advancement happening over the decades, now the AI in the picture, so this is the technology side. Now the client's requirement is also evolving and changing as per the changes in the technology. With the generational changes in the workforce, so many changes are happening from millennials to now Gen Z.
Correct.
And now even further, the new generation is coming in. If you have given a chance to define a recruitment process which stays relevant today and tomorrow, what that would be?
One of the best change that I want to do is like take off JDs because I hate JDs. So for me,
JDs and CVs both.
CVs हो सकता है. CV, there are better ways to do CV. I think people don't know that, but there are better ways to create a JD. But there is no better way to translate your problem statement into a.
I mean, it should be beyond JD and CV matching.
Correct.
It's not just.
It's just not there. Like I think there are multiple ATS in the market which takes keywords from JD and keywords from resume and then say like 90% match है, 100% match है. It doesn't happen that way, right? If that is so easy, the recruiters नहीं चाहिए market पर. It is very so easy. So वो JD is something that I always wanted कि like how much you are able to translate that problem statement. You need to translate it across, and that's why I always say it's good to have a strong recruiter in the team who can understand that problem statement and then translate it across and work towards that problem statement rather than blindly putting in a JD.
I guess now is the time to understand, like, earlier we used to take sales and business growth, like everything as the most key metric for the company's growth. Now, then it comes to the team, it's not just sales, it's the team who works behind the organization, and that team has to be crafted, not just, hired on the basis of JDs and CVs. They have to be properly crafted as per the problem statement.
So for me, if you see a JD should not say कि like मुझे ये चाहिए. JD should say मेरा problem ये है.
Right.
So this is my problem. I am trying to look into growing this company in so and so level. So that is my problem and all the things. For this, I think this kind of a setup would be better. But in case if you have, if you feel like you are the right person, you can always apply. Also give it across in such a way like ये role का growth path in down 3 years कैसा होगा. वो भी you can like basically if you have clearly defined like this growth path है 6 months down the line I am looking at so and so achievement from this particular role. 12 months down the line, I am looking at to it. This role can grow to that level from probably a business development to a senior business development. Then I am looking at so and so. So, if that is crafted and given across in a JD, that would be a right JD.
Recruitment is deeper than just hiring, right?
But it craft करना बहुत मुश्किल है.
Exactly.
Right. So that's why I say like JD is actually not a JD. It's just like a document saying कि मुझे
I got this good quote. Recruitment is not just hiring; it's crafting the team.
But why? So for me, JD is one thing. Next, as a tool, candidate experience, because the way the market is changing, the way people are going to look into a company, things will change a lot, and candidate experience would matter a lot. So that how much serious you are in the recruitment. That
recently, in one of the keynote session, I have been invited. I shared this. I mean. Earlier it used to be customer is the king. Agreed, it is still true, but now talent is also the king, right? If the company really want to grow and be successful and be efficient for that matter, they really need to craft their team beautifully, very carefully, and they need to hire right skill at right pricing, and they need to offer the kind of workspace that this skilled candidates need to nurture themselves. Rightly said. Amazing. Great discussion, I would say, right? Thanks for your time, Vijaya.
No problem, Aditi. Nice
and I'm
talking to you.
eagerly waiting how we arrive to at this 2:1 or 1:1 ratio of hiring.
Waiting for it, working towards it, building our bricks
really,
around
we're gonna do it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Aditi. Thank you.